Hi all and welcome to the Watch Lobby. Up in today's video we have this really cool micro brand from all the way down here in Australia. We have the Maz Arcticus with the Glacier Blue dial. Now before we kick this one off, I'll point out the piece I have in hand has been loaned to me by Matt from Maz Watch, and it's currently a prototype piece scheduled to be released on Kickstarter in May 2021. With an early bird price of around $360, then progressing from there with stretch goals planned along the way. Being a prototype piece, Matt has mentioned that there are some improvements already taking place in the production model, which I'll cover off as we run through this video. For complete transparency, I'll be receiving a production model from Matt following the completion of the Kickstarter campaign, which we'll then go over again in a future video. Let's get started with, in my opinion, one of the most eye-catching aspects of this piece. That dial. In this instance, I opted to go with the Glacier Blue dial, and I'm glad I did. It's something extremely unique to my collection. The soft pastel baby blue colour has been executed brilliantly. I know the pastel dials have been the trendy thing to do amongst most micro brands for a few years now, and this definitely adds to your options if that's what you're looking for. As for the dial markings, we see white minute markers the entire way around with black numeral markers at 5-minute intervals. A contrasting Maz logo at 12, in white the words Arcticus, and 150 meters in black at 6 o'clock. Overall, a simple and well executed dial. The dial itself is a sandwich dial. Now, before we continue on the sandwich dial, here is one change that will be different for production models. Currently, on the sandwich dial layer, the Loom application is fairly poor. After speaking with Matt, he has confirmed that they will be using the Loom formula found on the handset for the sandwich dial layer of the production pieces, which is a great decision. The handset itself is a simple, brushed sword style filled with blue Loom and a white seconds hand. Don't worry, there is enough contrast between the dial and handset that visibility is not a problem. Sitting atop of the dial, we get a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on the underside. Let's move on to the measurements. The horizontal measurement, including the crown, comes in at 43.3 millimeters. The diagonal measurement coming in at 39.8 millimeters. A lug to lug of 46.2 millimeters. A thickness of 11.8 millimeters. A clasp width of 21 millimeters. And a lug width of 20 millimeters. Sized up for my 7-inch wrist, coming in at 155 grams. The proportions are perfect for that daily wearer piece. What is well done is the fact that we get a sandwich dial under 12 millimeters, keeping in mind the added layer adds at least 1 millimeter to the thickness. While we're still on the case, the crown is signed and screw down, giving the Arcticus up to 150 meters of water resistance. Moving on to the bracelet. Some key things to point out again that will be improved for the production model. While the prototype does get solid end links, the fit in the production model has been refined, which will have a better fit to the case. Another key change to point out is the upgrade from push pins, as seen here on the prototype, to screw links, which are always welcome with open arms. Currently, the bracelet is a 3-piece brushed solid oyster. The clasp is a machined out clasp with a twin trigger release with a safety fold over with 6 micro adjustment holes along the clasp. That's right, 6. If you've been on this channel long enough, you would have heard me go on and on about bracelet comfort. While this particular clasp is extremely solid, I do find at times there are a couple of sharp edges that dig in from the underside of the clasp. I'd love to see the sharp edges on the clasp disappear in the production model. Now, let's flip this one over and have a look at that stunning caseback. What Matt has done here is absolutely amazing. What I see time and time again, not only for micro brands, but the bigger players in the game, is a lightly laser etched caseback. A lot of manufacturers can take note from this piece. If your engravings on the caseback are done well and refined, it doesn't interfere with wearability in the slightest. We see a deep engraving of ice fragments which are finished off in a high polish, contrasting against the lower portions which are brushed. The words sapphire crystal, stainless steel, Miyota 9039 and 150 meters water resist. A well executed caseback. So, what's under the caseback? Well, if the caseback engraving hasn't already given that away, it's the Miyota 9039. Most of us are already familiar with the Miyota 9000 series in the 9015. I had to do some digging myself to understand the differences, but my takeaway from what I've read is essentially it's the same movement as the 9015. So essentially beating at 28,800 beats per hour with a roughly 42-hour power reserve with an accuracy of -10 to +30 seconds a day. Now for the changes. Unlike the 9015, the 9039 is a no date variant. So we don't get that ghost crown position if you were to use a 9015 in a no date configuration. On top of that, one of my favourite aspects of the 9039 is noted to have a lower profile hand stack, naturally helping this Arcticus keep a lower profile than one would think with an automatic sandwich dial piece. Now for my final opinions on this piece. Keeping in mind there are some minor refinements to come in the production model. At the early bird price point, this piece is a no-brainer. Loaded with watch nerd specifications, an automatic 9000 series Miyota movement, sandwich dial, sapphire crystal, solid bracelet and end links, not to mention the clasp. An overall well-rounded package for the price that really packs a punch. Should all the shortcomings we mentioned throughout the video be addressed in the production model, I think Matt at Mavs Watch is onto a winner. If the aesthetics of this piece appeals to you, I highly recommend heading over to the Mavs Watch website, which I'll leave a link to in the description down below, and jump on their mailing list so you don't miss this drop. I know I'm looking forward to seeing the finished product if the prototype is this good. And just like that, we've come to the end of another video. If you're liking this content, please don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button and leave a comment down below. And like always, thank you and stay safe.